巡り巡る星の輪に僕の未来願いすべて託す夢の途切れ間に揺らいだ朝焼け冷えたわけじゃない輝き見据えて熱を持つ体抱えて走れば昨日までのよどんだ目にさよなら立ち向かう勇気などなくても迎え撃つ覚悟を僕がなんだってなんってそれでいいじゃないか僕らは巡り巡る星の輪に僕の未来願いすべて託す
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? Yeah. There we go. What the heck? We're doing something different today, as we always do. I'm trying to figure out something new. I didn't get to do it before stream. Ow. And because I didn't get to... Oh, gosh. What the heck? Why? Aw, man. That kind of broke what I... Oh, man. Well, anyway. I want to work on something new today. And that new thing that I want to work on is, more tracking stuff. So, we'll try to figure that out. Somehow. Heck yeah. You guys know how we do. We are, why is there grass in front of me? We are, as you may call, magical. Hold on, I gotta, oh, man. Everything is broken. Hold on, one sec. I don't think this is gonna fix it. No. How do you guys always break? What is this? What? You guys always manage to break stuff. I shouldn't even try. I should not even try while I'm in the middle of streaming. This is what I wanted to do. There's this really cool thing. If my camera could actually look at it. Hold on, let me switch my camera. This thing. No. Wait, where's Spelly? Oh, here I am. Hi. Hey, guys. How you guys doing? This thing over here. I wanted to work on this so that you guys could see my monitor while I'm working on stuff. Really, really cool stuff. Oh, it's like really blurry, but we're gonna ignore that. And look, you guys can see what I'm doing on my monitor and everything. Ooh, NDA work. No, just kidding. That's my Look, it's you guys. It's chat. Oh, isn't that so cool? But it's broken. And I don't honestly, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it before stream. Or during stream. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't think I'm gonna be able to work on this during stream. Whee! Oh, you can see my Spotify. Here's the song that's playing. Hey. Whee! Wait, where am I? Oh, there I am. Hi, guys. All right, so today is our day 2 of our charity stream. Yippee! Yippee! We're going to be, wait, I don't even have my face turned on. We're gonna be working on some Polaroids today. I'm gonna try to finish both Polaroid. I have 4 Polaroids to do, right? There we go. I have my head connected, even though you can't really see it. I have 4 Polaroids to do. I want to finish 2 of them today, if I can. So we're gonna try to finish 2 of them. Get Thorsten! Yeah, you can blame everyone else for this. This ain't me. This ain't me, bro. This ain't me. This is everyone else. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Oh gosh. Oh, what the? Hold on. Welcome in, Oz, Recco, Manbear, Oz, Manbear, Oz, Manbear, Sick Ripper, Recco, Oz, Recco, Sick Ripper, Oz. Well, me, So Pyro, Miriani, how are you all doing today? Aokuri. That's right, we're doing our charity stream for our CF, which I forgot to pin. I think I got everything fixed. It took Oz. Oz, thank you for the clip. Oh, feel free to feature it. I think I got everything fixed in terms of the alerts. So today, hopefully, when we do our charity thing, here, let me move over already. Whee! As we do our charity thing for that, cystic fibrosis, it should have the alerts come up. So I fixed it. We're working, we're fixing things. We're good. We're good. Oh goodness. That's right, I'm Dragon Ball. I'm flying right now. Whee! Ignore the hand being broken. Whee! You're playing Borderlands 2, let's go. What charity? That's right. Oh, I missed the Inkay. Aww. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Oz. I'm gonna take a bite. I was also in the middle of eating lunch, and I didn't get to eat lunch, so I'm gonna take a little bite. Look how far we got. We are so close to our goal, and it's only day 2 of 4. Thank you guys so much. Oh, sorry, my pretzels almost fell off my plate. Ah. Oh. Oh. I am eating a hot dog. It's yummy. We are almost there. Heck yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Sorry, I'm also kind of eating. Don't mind me. Ah! Ah! Bro, I'm gonna choke. Have a good lunch, Oz. Try wafers. I have 0 wafers. Please send wafers. I have pretzels, though. In the very least. And pretzels are pretty darn good. You know, I'm gonna be real. I don't know why I'm still broken. I shouldn't be now. Wow, this looks really painful. Waferless? What? Wait, maiden list. Whoa, whoa. Just because I don't have wafers don't mean anything else. What are you talking about? I'm boneless, in the very least. If I wasn't boneless, I'd be very, concerned right now. It just keeps getting worse. I feel like I'm... I keep making it worse. I don't know how to fix it. This is so sad. Oh, help me. Oh, goodness. Help. Yo, thank you for the clips, though. Oh. Have a good eating time, sweetie. It was nice. It's nice. It's nice. Hi. Okay. Say, look, you guys can still see my monitor. That was the important part, that you guys can see my monitor. That's honestly all that matters. That's all I needed. For you guys to be able to see my monitor. See, can you read this? No. We did what we could. What do you mean Halloween's cryptid, bro? It's just me, but contorted. Hey, contortionists are a thing. It's a real job. It's a real job. Hi, Fia. I'm eating some pretzels right now. We want some? Ah! Where am I? Oh. No, no. That was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, man. Oh, man. It is all. Oh. Oh. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Cece. Welcome in. I don't, you know, I ask myself the same thing sometimes. Ow. Isaac. Ow. Yeah. Throw stuff at the person who's contorted.
Hi, smiley face.
Isaac, thank you so much for becoming a VIP here at the clubhouse. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh. Sweetie. Oh, let me take a drink real quick. One sec. Are you eating the pretzel or are you the pretzel realm? Hi, Vexus, welcome in. I don't actually know how to fix this. I'm having an out-of-body experience. I don't know if there is a fix for this. Hold on. Oh. Wait, that did something. Oh god, my hands! Oh! Guess I'm not gonna be playing piano anytime soon. Whee! I'm flying! Ah! I broke it! I broke everything! There we go. Whee! But yeah, we're doing our charity stream today, and we're gonna see if we can finish 2 of the 4 Polaroids. We're almost done with 1 of them, and then I gotta, do another one. What's happening to me? Whee! Hi, Simon! Welcome in! Are you drinking of his... I don't know where it's going. It's like, like I drink, and then it gets wrung out like a sponge or something. You guys! I don't know... Meanwhile, the hidden question is twisted. I don't know how to fix it! Look at my stomach! Oh my gosh! Oh! Wait! My chest is on my bag! No! Don't look! I'm shy! How did he even what? How did where's my neck? I don't... Oh god! What is happening? Oh no! liquid. Does that make me a cat? Here, let me see. Let me see if I can fix it before I like. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really know what I did wrong. Okay. Tell you what. New plan. New plan. I'm gonna go back. We're gonna take it a step back. Hey, look! It's Shadow. I don't understand what's happening. What is why was Shadow on my screen? What? Why? Why? I can't breathe. Oh, hold on. Oh. Okay. I'm crying. Okay. Oh, I have to bring it down a notch before I like get like I'm gonna get lightheaded. Let me take another drink. Oh, after that I'm gonna need a drink, bro. Freaking body horror. Alright, anyway, I don't know. I don't know what was going on. We're gonna erase the last like 10 minutes. You just erased that from your mind. That didn't happen. What the heck? Yeah, it's my cat girl era, but instead of having cat ears and a tail, I'm a liquid. Whee! Oh, I guess a problem to Shadow. Oh, I really can't breathe. Okay, for real, we're gonna do stuff. For real, for real. I mean it. I don't know what yet, but it's stuff. Shadow jump scare. I'm moving to another screen before I wait, I'm already on the other screen. Yeah. Oh. Wait, wrong button. Rah! Rah! There we go. Wait. Yeah. I'm doing this right? Yeah, I know. Alright, we're gonna work on the Polaroids. I don't know what else to say. That was an experience. Gosh. That was one of those things you had to be here. I don't how would I explain that? How do you explain that? If someone's like, hey, I just got in, what did I miss? Like, what did I miss at the beginning of stream? How do you even explain what just happened? I just Polaroids. We have to finish 2 of them. It doesn't have to be the first 2, but I was actually thinking of not eating the frog today, finishing the one we're almost done with, and then finishing this one because it's easier, and then continuing from there and seeing how many more we can do. Maybe we can do all 4, but I don't want to hold my breath. Speaking of holding my breath, I feel like I can't. Hold on, I did not even finish my lunch. I feel like I had. You ever like plan? You ever plan anything? And you're like, this is what I'm gonna talk about on stream when I start. I literally only have to plan the first 10 to 15 minutes of my stream, because this is what I'm gonna talk about, and then I do art, and that's it. And then I don't even know what I was gonna say. It's gone. Whatever it was, I guess it wasn't important. I've been pretty good. I've been productive. I've been doing this NDA commission. I'm almost actually done with it. Hold on, I still gotta breathe. I have the last stretch of my NDA animation to do, and then I'm done. And it should be done by the end of the week, if not by next week. I don't want to like make any promises it'll be done by the end of the week, just in case. So next week for sure it'll be done, though. I'm really, really excited for it. I'm gonna eat another piece of my hot dog real quick. Oh. Yeah. Wait. Oz, you're married? Schrodinger. Mm-mm. Alright, one more bite and then I'm literally done with my hot dog. Then I don't have to worry about it for the... Last time I had a hot dog, I ate 2 hot dogs, and the end of it, I literally had 1 bite left to go, and I just let it go to waste, and I feel so bad. So let me finish this end of the hot dog, and then I'll be good. Wait, I didn't take my vitamins today. One of my vitamins I have to take with food, and the other one I have to take with water. So, since this is my last bite of the hot dog, let me take my vitamin with food. Hot dog. Take it with a hot dog. Darn. Read what Oz wrote in chat. Darn it. Time. It's, oh yeah, it's vitamin time. Wait, I want to try to catch it. I really don't like thick vitamins. Especially the ones that don't have, like, the big vitamins that have the coating around them, like Aleve or whatever. Those are pretty good because they're easy to swallow. But the ones that don't have any coating, they're just like chalky. It's like eating chalk, but like a big piece of chalk and you have to swallow it. You can't even chew on it. I find it so hard to do. Okay, let me take my liquid vitamin now. It's a really small pill that I take with liquid instead of food because I can actually swallow it. If me forgetting to eat my vitamins, which happens more often than I like to admit, doesn't go to show how hard I've been working today, I don't know what does. Because I have been, let me tell you, could I have done even more today? Probably, but that's not the point. I did a lot today, this morning, I mean. I did a lot this morning. I'm pretty heckin' proud of myself. And now we're doing more. Oh, wait, stop, Miso. I still have the Flintstone vitamins. Don't make fun of me. I have the gummy Flintstone. I used to have the chewy one, like the chalky ones. And then we switched to gummies like many years ago. I still have the gummy Flintstones. And the reason why I have the gummy Flintstone vitamins is on the days that I really, really feel like I cannot take vitamins, which happens sometimes. I'm really weird. I take the chewy, because at least the chewy vitamins I can absolutely eat. I can absolutely eat the chewy vitamins. The ones that you have to swallow, the pills, there are some days I cannot do it. I try to swallow and I choke and I start throwing up and I'm like, I can't do it today. So I take the chewy ones, because at least I'm taking something, even if it's not meant for adults. Even if it's like, you know, not a lot of vitamins, I'm still taking something. So I still do have the chewy, the gummy Flintstone vitamins on those days where, like, I can't take pills. It's sad, but it is me. Hi, Sayu. I have a question. What do I call you? Name-wise. That's what gummy vitamins are for? Exactly. I've considered switching, like, my vitamins that I have right now, they make adult gummy vitamins. But it's more expensive because you get less vitamins and it costs more, a little bit more, but you get less vitamins, so you have to buy more vitamins. And that's why I got the capsules, because essentially you save money. And it gives you more vitamin inside the capsule than the gummies. The gummies give you less, like, nutrients, or whatever, vitamins, you know what I mean? But even with that being said, I've been considering switching to the adult gummy vitamins, because I would rather take vitamins every day than take vitamins some days. And you could argue, why not just both then? But then that would be, like, even more expensive than just getting one or the other. I don't know. What do you guys think? It just sucks. It sucks. I wish I could just take vitamins and get it over with. I have a hard time, and I would rather take vitamins every day if possible. I don't know what's wrong with me. They are still available though, Miso. At least through Amazon that I know of. I don't know if there's like in stores or something. You can call me anything you like, but it can't be something mean because it'd make me sad. What if I call you? No, wait. Never mind. Wait, oh crap, I opened the wrong, hold on. I opened the wrong reference thing. What if I call you, wait, I'm gonna DM you because I don't feel like saying it out loud. Wait, hold on. That's what I was gonna say. I don't want to say it out loud because I'm embarrassed. Yo. To swallow more easily, put the pill in your mouth, drink some water, lower your head down, then lift your head up and swallow. I have tried so many things, sweetie. The only thing that I have found that works for me 99% of the time is eating it with food. That is the only thing I found that works 99% of the time. That works 99% of the time for me, like, me. But, with that being said, I only eat so many times in the day. I don't eat a whole lot. Arguably, I could eat a little snack like a cookie or something when I go to take my vitamins, which I do. I do actually a lot because normally I'll eat breakfast. I won't even think about my vitamins. I'll eat breakfast and I'll be like, oh crap, I just ate breakfast. Like, that, now I can't take my vitamins. I used to have these lemon cookies. And so I would take a lemon cookie, I would chew it up, and then I would swallow with the vitamin. And that would, you know, I'd be able to actually eat the vitamin. But I'm not a huge fan of eating more than I need to. Not that I don't like lemon cookies, but usually when I eat breakfast, I'm full after that, and I don't want to eat more. So to eat more just to take my vitamins kind of sucks. But they are really good. They are really good. I do like lemon cookies. Out of all like the store brand cookies, I don't know which one I like more, lemon cookies or like those frosted cookies. I don't know. But if I had to say, okay, things that are like Oreos, like the ones with cream in the middle, I think lemon's my favorite. I love Oreos, don't get me wrong. But if they had like a lemon Oreo cookie, I'd probably love that way more than just the regular Oreo cookie. I love lemon cookies, they're really good. Hi, Voxty. For foodless, I've essentially put the pill down my throat. I don't know how you guys do it. Oh, yogurt? I've never tried it with yogurt. I could try it with yogurt. Then I gotta remember to eat yogurt. I'm supposed to eat yogurt every day, but... And I have... Basically, it's a matter of trying to remember to take the pill when I eat something. Chipotle, Gouda cheese. I'm hungry. Actually, I'm not very hungry. I just had a hot dog, so I'm pretty full. Good thing I only made one hot dog. Normally, when it's a meal, like an actual meal and not just a snack or something, I make 2 hot dogs. But lately, I've been eating 1 hot dog and then getting really full after the 1 hot dog, and I'm like, I don't even really want a second hot dog now. So I started cutting it down to 1 hot dog and then just some pretzels. Because that's a little too much. Hi, how you doing today? They do, I think. They have lemon Oreo? Let me know. Let me know if anyone wants to see if they have lemon Oreo cookies. I think I'm sorry, I'm like looking at this piece because I'm about ready to finish it, but in order to finish it, I have to merge it. So let me start another folder, and the folder's gonna be called unmerged, so I can copy paste my stuff into the unmerged folder just in case I need it, and then I'm gonna start merging these. I hate merging. Okay, here we go. Oh, I guess I'm kind of forgetting highlights, though. I could do... Well, no, I can't really do highlights. Because if I do... Even if I choose the color white... Ah! The only way I do foodless is forcing... Oh! Forcing it... Do you ever, like, gag because of that? What? Oh, man. I did take my vitamins today, in the very least. I mean, I took it here on stream, so... I could take my vitamins on stream, but I don't know if I really want to do that. Like, so that I remember to take my vitamins. Because then what's going to happen if I do it that way is I'm going to forget to take my vitamins on the days I don't stream. So then, arguably, I just stream every day. I'm glad to hear. almost done with your OC challenge? Wait, what's your OC challenge? What's that? What's that? Espresso coffee Oreos? I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. I to be fair, I don't know a whole lot of different flavors of Oreos. But that's interesting. Hold on, I gotta move this highlight down. There we go. Okay, now we're back to merging. Merging. Okay, what's all this? Ah. Merge this, and then we're gonna do our finishing touch. Skier. Bam. And now everything is finished and polished. And then what I can do beyond that is merge all this. One more merging here. And put her into the actual scene. Alright. Oh gosh. One can always try swallowing Skittles to prepare for pills. Wait, why would I swallow? I don't even have Skittles. Why would I swallow Skittles? What? Sorry. Ah. It's you draw 5 OCs and yourself as the artist. Oh, okay, okay. Is it like a new trend or is it like just something that's been around for a bit? And try not to choke. That's the big thing. That's the big thing, is the choking thing. Ah, so you've gotten used to it, Isaac. Heck, I see. Skittles are about the size of an Advil, I think. An Advil? I'm trying to remember. The pills that I take right now are about the size, like my vitamin pills, are about the size of, like if you look at your pinky, you know how it's broken up into 3 sections? I don't know, at the joints and stuff? It's about the size of the tip of your pinky to the first joint. I guess it depends, because people have longer pinkies and shorter pinkies, but on average, it's about that size. And that's why I can't... I know some people could swallow stuff like that easily, even with water, but I have to have food to swallow something like that. That's giant for me. Big hands. I have small hands, to be fair. Ah, okay, okay. I feel it. I really wanted to do the lemon challenge, which is like, not even a challenge, the lemon trend, which is like you draw your OC or whoever licking a lemon and then making like the puckered face. And I like started it and then I never actually got to it. If I can find the start of it. Hi, Anamon! Here it is. I started it, and then that was it. That's all I did! And I was like, Oh! Oh, that's really cool to hear, Anamon. Heck yeah. Lick. I feel like trends go so fast. It's really hard to keep up, I'll be honest. I'll start doing this one, but I don't really need to add, because it's going to have a lot of purple on it. What? Poop. I didn't really save her colors from this one. Onyx is spelled Onyx, isn't it? Oh, it's not with a Y? Oop, there's a Pokemon. You force yourself to finish them? Oh my gosh. I feel it. There's just so much to do. There is so much to do. There's just not enough time. Some of the people that, like, they're full-time artists, full-time content creators, full-time whatever. I don't know where they find the time. They must have extreme time management. That's what I'm working towards. We're getting there slowly but surely. I just need to, I feel like I've been saying this for months now. I just need to clear my queue. Clear my queue and be able to actually work on a lot of other things. Just gotta clear my queue. Yeah. Wait, you get sad when you clear your queue? But why is that, Bamber? Oh, wait, hold on, I gotta grab colors. Killers. There we go. Me trying to clear your queue. I see. Yeah. Yep. It's the life of any, it's not even just like artists in particular. The life of any creator. There's just so much to do. Blech. I'm sad. Yeah. It's not even the right way to say it. It's not the life of any artist, because there's a lot of artists out there who aren't trying to, you know, do full-time art. They just like to do art, and that's perfectly fine. Or should I say art as a career? Art as a career. Oh, I heard it, and then I was like, wait, what? It was a drink. Let me drink right now. Right meow. Thank you for the drink. Hi, Claire. Ow. Oh, gosh. Hi, Jack. That sound scared me. It's in the middle of drinking.
Obcat arrived. Hello.
I know, Claire. I can only imagine how strong this person must be to be able to wheel. Sorry. I think the drink went down the wrong tube. Trying to wheel this up. I can only imagine. Because it just doesn't have, I'm so sorry, Man Bear. Welcome in, Big John Woberts. How are you doing today? Hi, Jack. And Jack, thank you so much for being a VIP here at the clubhouse. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Never sleep, drink coffee? I've never had coffee in my life. Never, ever. I have had energy drink. It's not that I've never had caffeine. It's just coffee in general. Never, ever. Coffee. No, it's okay, Jack. Ellie, welcome in. Ellie, do you have an OC? Out of curiosity. Not to call you out. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. But but I was having a discussion the other day, and I was like, I wonder if this person has an OC. You can hear the piano falling. No. Oh, right. Let me turn on the redeems for you guys. Hold on one sec. Let's see. Okay, you guys ready? Count to 3. Count to 3 and the redeems will be back. 1 to 2. Hey, I wasn't finished counting. To 2 to 3. No, they're not all back. I was trying to be fast with that. I was not. Ow. My head. Whee! Ow. When am I gonna be able to add the beach outfit and the bunny outfit? I would like the beach outfit and the... Ow! Whee! Look, it worked! We finally got it to work. It's a little beans, but that's right. Oh, we got it to work. Thank you so much, ow. For the ton, for the charity. I wish I could sign in without having to go to my email. I tried doing the Twitch like Manbear said, and when I tried doing that, they were like, "Hey, no, you can't do that." And I was like, "What? Please, please." Thank you. Beach bunny, because I have a beach outfit and I have a bunny outfit. They're different. You don't want 2 outfits, you want 1? I could mix them, but you guys would miss out on the bunny outfit. It would basically just be the beach outfit, but with bunny ears. You can say goodbye to the bunny outfit. Let me see. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Ow, let me see what you want. Name on sticky. How? I don't know what your name is. I can put Awa on the sticky. I can assume who it is. Is assuming okay? Our bunny outfit? Yeah, they're talking about getting rid of the bunny outfit, Fia. Imagine that. Yeah. How dare. You never had an energy drink? Oh, Isaac, we're like the opposite. Oh, well, kind of. You've had coffee, but not often? Ow, okay. I assumed, but I don't like to assume. I don't like to assume. Because you guys already know the saying. Alright, let's make it ow. What exactly? Yo. Ashobu. Ow. Alright. It has been added in 3, 2, 1. Ashobu. Did you see it? Thank you so much, Awa, for the donation for the charity. We are so close. It's in pounds. I'm sorry. But we are roughly, oh no, math. That's not my forte. A little bit over 70 pounds. I think it's like 70, 77? 77 pounds away from our goal. Heck yeah. Thank you guys. For the charity. I can't say for the kids because it's for much more than just kids, but there are kids involved in terms of everyone that is infected by CF. So thank you guys. Where did my reference go? There it is. Yeah. Did you see? I was thinking the same thing. Did you see it? I see. We're gonna do this the hard way. Understandable. There. Totally. Hi, Baito. Wait. Baito? Beto? Buh. Yeah, the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, that specific company? Is that the organization? I think that's the right word there. Is located in the UK. And because of that, I can't change it on Tiltify, the currency. So I did my best to make sure everything was the same in the currency. So if I say $2 USD, it's like one whatever in pounds. But it should be converted for you guys on Tiltify. Wah. There we go. Yeah. Genetic. Manbear would be the best for questions. Manbear or coffee. But they did explain yesterday, we had like a big info video by Coffee during Manbear's interview about how cystic fibrosis affects people. And as you can imagine, but it's not very nice. Not a fun time. I looked at that, Isaac. I have finally seen the reference. How many memes are in Vocaloid? Hello. How close are we to the Terrasona? Ooh, we're getting pretty close. Shouldn't him. Technically a few memes? How old is Miku? The little fang. Little fang. Wait, Nyan Cat is a Vocaloid? 2017? Or 17, hello? 2007 is when Miku was created. Like the program or the actual like full-on design and everything? Is Miku a program? Whoa. This year is the year of the canon. Oh, I didn't know they were created in the same year. Was she the first? Or the first, I guess, I don't know if all the, like, the Vocaloids came out in a set? Or if literally she was just the first one and the only one? I know nothing about Vocaloid. Teach me. $32. Oh, okay, okay. I wonder what made hers, like, blow up in popularity. Compared to it already having been a thing. The first Vocaloid 2. Miku's confirmed 30. Wait. What? Have a good one, Oz! Cute girl? Were the other ones not cute girls? It was Kaito, and Meiko? I think Vocaloid 2 was just better than the previous version. That's also fair. Like sounding and stuff. What? I appreciate it, Oz. Started with mediocre sales. I'd have to see what they look like. Wait. Oh. I mean... He's not a cute girl. I'm looking at Kaito right now. He's not a cute girl, but... Ah, they were both... Okay. Wait. Is... Me... Meito? How do you pronounce that? Meito? It has the whole group though. Not into the Vocaloids you see. You're not, Miso? People also love the other Vocaloid, two voices. Luca and Rin and Ren. I know Rin and Ren. Luca was... she wasn't the redhead, was she? No, she had pink hair. Ah. Mako. Ah, okay, I see, I see. It was something about Miku that just popped off. It happens, though. Pink hair, yee. Not too much, I understand. I don't know much. I know a handful of Vocaloid songs, but I don't know anything about them themselves. Like, if there is any Vocaloid lore or anything, I have no idea. Oh, they have a little plush of them. That's so cute. Let's be friends. All you wanna do is just... Oh, no, that's just different. That's a different song. Never mind. You have a mouse pad of her and Miku? Wait, of which one of Miku? Aw, that's so cute. Luca Miku. Okay, okay, okay. Calling him his son. It's so cute. Hi, Lucky. We're talking about Vocaloids and the Vocaloid history. Something I know nothing about. It's so cute. One of the... Wait. The voice off? Does that mean that someone recorded it? Question mark? So, for example, oh, my alarm's going off. There's a voice of Miku? Okay, City Burrito. Yeah, Vocaloid History 102. You skipped the course? Okay, good. You're here with us now to learn, to educate ourselves. They record the tones and the vowels for each voice that is pitched and used in the software. Oh, I did not know that. So there is a voice actor behind Miku. Because I read something online recently and I was like, wait, so is it true? That, you know, the... Shiko noko 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 to ga koshi that one? Is it true? Oh. Lucky! Yeah. Lucky!
Learning something every day, Spelly one bonga.
That's right. Always stay learning. Lucky, thank you so much for becoming a VIP here at the clubhouse. At the clubhouse. Is it true that the voice actor for one of the characters on that show is the voice of Miku? Oh, Claire. I mean, it sounds really neat. It sounds really neat. I literally just thought it was just the software, not like a voice behind it. But a software that had a bunch of pitch. I don't know where they would have gotten it from, but pitches and stuff. I would believe it. I haven't looked at the cast. That's fair. Is that what it is, Jack? It is voiced? Looks like it. Oh, so it's true. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, Miku doesn't have a voice actor. I was like, what are they talking about? Little did I know. Wait, hold on. I don't like this being all the way up here. There we go. One day, one of these days, I want to work on an anime. Like, for an animation studio. I don't think I'd be able to stream it, though. I really don't think I'd be able to stream it, which sucks a lot. I'm sure there's, like, a huge NDA thing with them. Unless you guys know of anyone who's ever been able to stream, like, making an animation, like, for an anime studio. But I have a funky feeling, which is understandable, of course. But I have a funky feeling you can't actually stream that kind of stuff. There's a chamber chat. Thank you, City Burrito. Def NDA. I know someone streamed it got bonked. Did they really? Ah, Goothy. I'm so sorry to hear for them. I mean, on one hand, I absolutely get it. Oh, if you ever want to show me something during stream times, you could also put it in Show Me During Break. It's the channel that's right above the chamber chat channel. Heck yeah. But it's okay that you put it. You don't have to remove it or anything. That's just for next time. It's so cute, though. Cute mouse pad. Making your own studio? I have... Trust me, I've talked with my manager about that for many hours, many days. TLDR, it just probably wouldn't work. It probably would not work. The big thing that comes with it is the financial aspect of it. Because you guys already know, there's not only is there like taxes and other stuff to worry about once you own like something like a studio like that, but you also have to pay everyone, understandably. Unless apparently you work with some of these studios, then I guess you don't have to pay everyone. No, I'm kidding. Awful situations. There's a lot. You can make a video and share it after? Technically, you can. I know it's definitely frowned upon in Japan. It's frowned upon, believe it or not, that people share the things they've worked on. So when I say that, I mean, if you worked on an anime, and then you say, hey guys, after the anime showcases, so no breaking NDA, everything's already been released, it's frowned upon for you to be like, hey, I did the storyboarding for this episode of this anime, or hey, you know, I did the cleanup for this anime. Believe it or not, it is not, obviously not by literally everyone, but for most studios, it's actually frowned upon that people do that. And I've heard cases where people will legitimately, it's obviously what's done is done, but they might not be hired back, especially as a freelance. They might not be hired back to that company if you do something like that. That's how frowned upon it is. What are you talking about, Speedy? You could literally insert so many studios in there. NDA, yeah. It would be cool. It would be really cool to see professional works. But I get that it's NDA. It just, you know. Now here's another question. What if you work on it on stream, but you don't show it on stream? Like if it was just my face and I was working on it while on stream, but it was like, you guys could not see a thing. Because I know some streamers who do Pomodoro streams, like focus streams, study with me kind of streams. And they work on, obviously, things that they can't show because it's company secrets and stuff. But what they do is they don't show it on stream. They just kind of show their face. And then when they're on the break portion of their Pomodoros, then they talk to chat and everything. And then when they're focusing, they stay focused and everyone's just kind of like doing their own thing together. Do you think that would be not allowed? You share your portfolio with studio? Yes, you can share your portfolio with studios. They actually, they have it, because I applied to a studio recently. I forget the name of the studio. It was the one that worked with... What did they do? I forget. It was a video game thing they did. They were doing animations for that video game, and I applied for them as an animator. And one of the things they say on the portfolio is, if you have any private works that you want to share, like, because you can't share it publicly, you can do so on this forum, but make sure, you know, that your video is unlisted on YouTube or something, so that we can still see it, but then public cannot see it, and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. You can share, like, kind of NDA works. I guess you would also have to talk. I don't know how it works, because I've never done, like, big-time professional stuff. But I assume you'd have to talk to the company as well, and be like, hey, can I apply for this using this? I don't know. I would love to, Isaac. Hella paid. Let's go. Just gotta get a big work. It's also true. It is, yeah. It's not as easy as a few pals getting together. It could be, but then it wouldn't be like an official studio or anything. It would just be working together, essentially. Word of mouth working together. Nothing wrong with that either, but that's all it would be. Oh, let me grab this color really quick. Yeah. If one's celebrating their win, they're disqualified. Do they really? In competitive sports? I did not know that. You think it would be fine? It could work? There's a new tablet that's been going around. It's a VTuber asset. And it's been going around and... what? Why? And essentially what it is... Sorry, I'm distracted by the fact that it's not letting me color this. Hold on. There we go. It's a tablet that lets you see the pen movements, but it doesn't actually show you what it's being drawn. It just shows you the pen movements. With some fancy colors and stuff that make it look fancy and nice to watch, I guess. And I thought that was neat. And I was like, you know, I do have some NDA work. I don't get a whole lot of NDA work, but I get some. And so sometimes it would be nice to do, even if I want to stream, but I can't stream the work itself. I can only imagine how entertaining that would be, though. Hi, Izzy. Welcome in. You guys saw it? Doesn't it look so cool? Honestly, it looks really, really cool. I want to try it at some point. But they're working in development to actually put it out for public use. They say that it's really hard to customize, and that's fine. I'll get like the pre-made one. That's not a biggie. But I think it's really cool. I want to try it. I want to try it. Yeah. It's the collective. Never seek fame for what the individual has done. Yeah. Which, it makes sense, but I guess it sucks a little bit because then I don't know. You can't really, like, I don't know. I guess it's not that important to post. It's just nice sometimes. Like, you guys, basically what I'm saying is you guys would never know that I actually worked on an anime because I wouldn't really be able to talk about it. Or I guess I could talk about it, but it would be seen as bad to talk about. Or be excited about. And so rip. Crying in the club. And he wasn't allowed to show you? Aw, I see, Cindy Burrito. There's doctors and researchers who do that? Really? Like, they stream and they're just hanging out, but they're working on stuff they obviously can't show because it's confidential stuff. That's really neat, actually. That's also true, sweetie. The big thing is, as always, the big thing is communication. You take tons of notes for debut. Yeah. I wish I had time to actually work on debut. I'm so excited. I have a lot of assets for debut. And a lot of people that are working in the background for debut, which is great. What is happening? Oh, I know why. I was like, why is this not working? But I do have stuff that I need to work on myself, not just like, you know, commission someone for. And I gotta find the time to do it. Hello? I can't tell if we're back. I think we're back. Hi, okay, we're back. You're back. So, here's the time-old question. Did it say offline, or did it only just have, like, the weird disconnect thing, and then it came back? Guess who's back again. Miles asleep, though? No, that's because I am, looking at my phone right now. I'm deciding if I would like to... What would I like to do? We've only been streaming for like an hour. I don't really feel like ending right now. That's whack. I don't know what's been up with my internet. My internet likes to suddenly stop. Thank you for the save. My internet likes to suddenly stop. It's my internet. It's not, like, not my power or anything. My power's good. But my internet, and it's been like this for the whole week, where around this time, it just stops, and then it comes back. Even though I restart my PC and everything. So I'm not sure what I want to do. Yeah, it's just the internet being spotty. Not me eating pretzels. Maintenance of sort? Maybe. Maybe. But that's why I'm like, I wonder if I should continue, or I can move to Discord too. It wouldn't be a horrendous thing. But, What do you guys think? Pretzel. Sorry, yeah, you remember how I mentioned I started getting one hot dog and pretzels? I didn't eat any of the pretzels, I just ate the hot dog. I guess if it's back, if we're back, yeah, if it happens again, I'll move over to Discord. But for right now, we'll just continue schmoovin'. This is for charity! For the charity! I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I've been pretty productive today. I've been getting a lot done. Thank you. Oh, is it still pinned? I assumed it's still pinned, right? That's right. We are currently doing a charity stream for cystic fibrosis, which affects everyone. Well, everyone that's... Sorry. I said that wrong. It affects everyone who is affected, which sounds silly to say. But when I say that, I mean it can affect anyone at any age. And we are currently raising funds. The charity. We're almost at our goal, too. Look, if you look at the top, I know the numbers aren't there, but we're almost at our goal, which is 400 pounds. We're currently at 333 pounds. Duh. You've been doing art? That's always a fun thing to do when you have to stay home and stuff. I love doing art. What? Make it adoptable? Oh, I get to make it adoptable soon too. It was the goal that we just hit. Wait, let me show. Heck yeah. We have one more goal that we're trying to reach, but the goal that we just recently passed yesterday was to create and auction a character. Wait, is auction still an adoptable? I mean, they're adopting it, but it's through an auction. I don't know. I still have to learn how to do auctions. But I will learn. I have some friends that... Oh no, what have I done? Some friends that will teach me. That's so exciting! Oh. What have I done? There we go. Auction is correct? Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I don't know exactly where I want to do it. If I want to take to Twitter to do them, because I have a couple friends that do them on Twitter. or if I want to do them on Toy House, or both. But I could tell, oh goodness, what have I done? I can tell that it's a lot harder doing it on cross-platforms, because you just have to keep track of everyone's bids cross-platform and inform every one of the bids. So I was watching someone do it, and I was like, whew, that's a lot. Especially for a first timer. Maybe if I was something that I was used to doing, then I'd be like, oh yeah, I got this. But as a first timer, yeah. I'll probably stick to one platform for now. It's really exciting though. I don't know what to design. No. If I should try to design a VTuber or just an OC or a creature rather than like a human, but like a creature. I'll probably stick with humans. It's so exciting. Nom, nom. Who are we adopting? No. Miso, we're not adopting. Here, I'll go check. We're not adopting. We are Sayu, that's not urgent. I thought someone was in trouble, bro. Or like, you know. No, we're not adopting though. We're making the adopt, and then someone's going to adopt them. The way Isaac adopted, technically we made it adoptable, but not really. Not really. Isaac now owns our OC that we made during the birthday donathon. Isaac, I hope you are taking good care of them. Stay away from trouble. Wait, but what if someone was in trouble in my community and you had to be like, Spelly, someone's in trouble in your community. You wouldn't tell me? You wouldn't tell me because you stay away? Yeah, we're making the, no, yeah, we're not I don't have the money, man. We are making the adoptable. That's because we hit the goal yesterday. The milestone goal. Adopt me? I'm glad. I should do more with them. It's completely up to you. I understand if you don't, but... By all means, entirely up to you, though. I give you all rights. I'd say Spelly Soda's trouble and continue to stay away. That's fine, that's fine. As long as you tell me. As long as you're okay with telling me there's trouble instead of just being like, oh, I'm gonna ignore it. All you need to do is tell me and then I'll be like, okay. I can take care of it from there. Oh my goodness. For my hat, Ruff? No, my hat. I love my hat. Don't take that away from me. It's priceless. I don't know. 100,000 is 100,000. But my hat's kind of pricey. I don't know. I love my hat. No. Now, if you want to just buy it to look at it, then, you know. No. Oh my goodness. You've been making meat? Is that how you pronounce that? Meat? I had, was it called meat the other day? I don't remember. It was something that we bought. It was something my dad bought. And he was like, try this. And I'm like, I don't drink alcohol, but okay. And so I tried it. Again, I don't drink alcohol, so... Anything alcoholic's not really my thing. But yee. I did have, completely unrelated, I had twisted tea the other day. Now, those things are dangerous because they don't really taste very much like alcohol. So I could sit there and drink them for a while. Which is, dangerous. I I definitely don't, I haven't gotten drunk. Is that the right word? Wait, yeah, that is. I haven't gotten drunk since 2020, February of 2020. Before all the crap went down. Okay, deal. Deal, sweetie. I drink for you. Sounds fair, Niru. I'm not sure why. I think it was made with honey as a base. Like I said, it was store-bought. I'll just say yeah. You could drink for me, Niru. You're not a big fan of alcohol? Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't drink okay, I used to drink a lot. I definitely do not drink as much anymore. On purpose, I just not interested, you know? Cheese! Wait, do wine and cheese actually go really well together? Because you guys already know I love cheese. You know I love cheese. But I'm not a huge fan of wine. Maybe I'm just not having the right kind, but do they actually go together? Do you prefer orange juice? Honestly, my favorite drink of choice is water. It always has been. Second to, or second to, is that the right? No. Next to green tea. I like green tea water. Not green tea the tea, but green tea the water. I really like water. You can't take it away from me. Oh yes, Rogue is good too. Rogue is good too. Gives me energy to stream. I feel you, Isaac. The twisted teas? That's fair. That's fair. I like, if I ever drink, I like it to be basically not to taste like alcohol, which is kind of defeating the purpose, I guess. But that's why I don't drink a lot. I don't like the taste of alcohol. Meanwhile, I'm eating pretzels. You gotta get the right wine with the right cheese. Is it really dependent on like the type of cheese and the type of wine? Dang. I want to try. What goes good with mozzarella? What wine goes good with mozzarella? Water gang. Let's roll. Rise up. Water is so good. It's better enjoying the cheese. Really? Noted. Do you like cheese? Pizza. Wait. What? No. You guys say pizza. You want to know something funny? Okay, this was a long time ago. Not now. Did you guys know that I actually did not like, oh gosh. I did not like pizza. For a long time, I did not like pizza. Because I don't like tomatoes. I didn't like marinara sauce. I know they have other types of pizza. But since most pizza was marinara, I just, you know, I was like, pizza, Hey, sweetie, get back here. I like pizza now. Granted, I do like white sauce pizza more than red sauce. But I'm okay with eating red sauce. I don't care. Tomatoes or whatever. Like, I'll eat tomatoes. Even if I'm not a big fan, I'll eat tomatoes. Hey, but at the end of the day, if you guys love tomatoes, it means more tomatoes for you. Right? Because I will not be eating those tomatoes. You can have them. All for you. Hey, cheese, you heard right. I have been having an issue with eating too much cheese lately. Some of you might be like, too much cheese, there's no such thing. I've been having really bad constipation lately. Like, really bad constipation lately. I really need to stop eating as much cheese as I've been eating. For real though. Not even... It sucks. Arguably, I could take Lactaid, which I do. But clearly, at the end of the day, I do need to start cutting down on my cheese. I've been eating a lot. Like, if I put it into measurements, I'm talking like, oh my gosh, a couple pounds a day. A couple pounds of cheese a day. And hey, you might not think that's a lot, and that's valid, but I'm also lactose intolerant. And I have not been taking my lactate pills unless I go out, like if I'm not home. So that's why I've been getting constipation. It is okay to not like something, exactly. That's why my favorite thing is when I don't like something, it means other people, like I don't like peanut butter. I don't like peanut butter. You guys can have all the peanut butter to yourselves. You can have it all. So if you love peanut butter, it sounds like a good deal to me because it means I will never eat the peanut butter in the household. You guys can have the peanut butter. Right? That's how I see it. The only rum you had tasted like hand sanitizer. Yeah, back in the day, I used to down that stuff. Not a fan. Not a fan anymore. Cheese outlet nights? What is a cheese outlet? Outlast? Oh, cheese outlast night. What is that? Cheese. That's right. Have you been hydrating? Not enough. I could use more hydrating. Hold on. Let me drink some. I also just ate some pretzels, so it'd be nice to drink some more. You ever took the pills? Well, Niru, I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that I take them and they work. Basically, I don't have diarrhea and I don't have constipation. I just have normal poop. I still poop and get a little bloated after eating cheese, but it's not nearly as bad as if I didn't take them. Talking about lactose intolerance if anyone's coming in. Hi, Jeannie. I don't know the science behind it otherwise, though. We are non-peanut butter likers, not peanut butter likers together, Sayu. Oh, yes, I've been eating a lot of yogurt yet. Now, granted, I have not been eating plain yogurt. I can't. If you guys can eat plain yogurt, more to ya. But, oh my gosh, I can't eat plain yogurt. I still eat probiotic yogurt, but it's probiotic peach yogurt. I can't do plain. I'm sorry, that tastes like disgusting. I don't know. If you guys like it, that's great, but plain, and I'm not talking about vanilla. I'm not talking about, like, you know, literally plain. It tastes like curdled cheese. Or it tastes like, freaking cottage cheese and sour cream. No. No, I can't. I can't eat that stuff. I don't know how people do it. It's like grits. Why? Yogurt kills your belly? Yogurt? I like yogurt, but I try to get it as least amount of sugar as I can, which is really hard to do when you start adding flavor to it, which is why plain yogurt is the best, healthiest, I should say, not the best, but the healthiest. But if I can't consume it, then it's not healthy for me, because I can't eat it. But I like peach yogurt because it's good for you. Probiotic peach yogurt. It's good for you and it tastes good. It's not as good as plain, but it's still good for you. Good for your digestive system, for sure. Ugh. Toffee yogurt? Cheese. Cheese has salt. Oh! I dropped my pen. Ooh. Hold on. That makes sense, actually, City Burrito. Cheese having salt might be a big reason for having caught. I need to drink more, what it really comes down to. I need to drink more water. I'm gonna drink more water right now. I love peach yogurt. Piv is very happy about the consequences of your Wait, why? wait, what? Huh? Wait, Wait, you like... Okay, look. I like sour cream with pretzels. I like sour cream with, like, vinegar chips. I don't really like cottage cheese, but I don't mind those things with other things. Like cottage cheese and blueberries. I cannot do freaking... How do you guys... I can't eat it... Tell me you don't eat it plain. Tell me you do not eat it plain. Because... Yuck. I eat plain with blueberries and honey? That's fair. Who eats it with nothing? Me, Sayu. No, I don't. I tried it. I tried it eating it with nothing. Plain yogurt with... That's it. It's plain yogurt. Nothing else in it. It was... Video blue cheese? I'm not a big fan of blue cheese. I'm not. Prophecy, thank you so much for the VIP membership. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Coffee pudding? Is that what that is? Blue cheese is good. You guys can have all the blue cheese. All for you. Have them. Have at it. Yes. Destroy blue cheese by consuming it. Oh, you know, that's valid. That's valid. Honestly, I am happy for Piffle for getting all the cheese. Sorry, Nero. Sorry. Wait, plain cottage cheese? Yeah, no. My dad does that. You and my dad would get along. Yeah. I can't, though. That, you know what else my dad drinks plain? Who else does this? Buttermilk. Buttermilk. I think he has, like, the 2% buttermilk. I don't know exactly what it is. But, look, the idea of buttermilk is great because, again, it's like yogurt. It's really good for your digestive system and yada yada. But buttermilk tastes like curdled milk. It tastes like yuck. Yuck. Why? I tried it. At least I can say I tried it. At least I can say I tried it. I did not just say it's gross and not ever try it. But yuck. I'm allergic, but give me... You like... Oh, the blue cheese. The blue cheese. You're allergic to blue cheese? I'm so sorry to hear. I wish I could give you more blue cheese. You could have it all. Exactly, sweetie. Stop. Bro. Yuck. Never had buttermilk, but it's something you would do. You like, oh, you like thick cream. Yeah, I like butter frosting. No, what is it called? What's that thick frosting called? I like that. Whatever it's called. But I don't like whipped cream, for example. I don't like whipped cream because whipped cream, it's literally air. I don't like that. I don't like putting something in my mouth and just having nothing in my mouth. It's gone. Not like cotton candy. At least I can taste that. The sugar. But whipped cream? You guys can have all the whipped cream too. Yuck. Cream cheese, I like cream cheese. That cream cheese is something I will eat plain. I don't prefer to eat it plain, but I can eat it plain. Cream cheese is good. I have it on bagels. Vinegar? Yeah, vinegar chips. I'm technically allergic to any moldy cheese, but they're my favorite. No, be careful. Allergy. See, there's a huge difference between lactose intolerance and allergy. And you actually gotta be really careful with allergies. Hi, Zero. Welcome in. Yeah, whipped cream. You ever, like, eat whipped cream? And it's just, I don't know why people, they eat whipped cream. They're like, this is really good flavored air. Whipped cream. I don't get I, too, enjoy, I mean, flavored water, I guess? Not that whipped cream is like flavored air, so then I like flavored water. I don't know. Cream cheese is pretty good. Thick. Yeah, that's right. If you guys eat all the blue cheese, I would never have to worry about it. Please, please do. Please do eat all the blue cheese. Only on spell. Oh, that sounds awful, man bear. I'm so sorry to hear. It's got a nice mouthfeel. Whipped cream? It's like... Look, here, you guys want whipped cream? Here, I got you. Ready? Open your mouth and then close your mouth. Mmm, whipped cream. Delicious. Oh, you know what? Hold on, sorry, Niru. I'll give that to you. All my bots were destroyed when my internet went down earlier. Let me fix them. Alright, that bot is fixed. Oh, that means I gotta flashbang you guys. Hold on. Save. Invisibility spell, go! I can't see you. You can't see me. I'm hiding. Ah. Flashbang, deploy. Whenever it wants to actually do it. Wee! Wait, has my Spotify been muted this whole time? How long has my Spotify been muted, bro? Damn. Aw, man. I guess I'll enjoy the music to myself. At least I won't get muted. It seems this is a... That's what? You mean the whipped cream thing? I'm telling you, bro. Again, more whipped cream for you guys, but no, not for me. Not for me. What do you mean sauce? For a minute? Okay, that's not too bad. all I have to do is restart my chatbot and then we should be good. Internet. Why? The sad part is I restart my computer and everything. I restart it so that issues like this don't happen. Maybe I just need to unhook everything. Like, you know how you unplug stuff every now and then you plug it back in and it resets everything? Maybe I just need to unhook everything tonight so that it can, like, have a fresh restart in the morning. Okay, the bot should be back now? Should be? I don't know. I don't taste any liquid, Isaac. I just taste... It's, like, not there. Yeah, I think your whipped cream might have been whipped too long. Fair. CSGO. No! Bro, I have, like... What? 600 hours? 200? 200 hours in CSGO? For no reason. Have a good one, Niru. Thank you so much for being here. You're talking about the whipped cream. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. Oh, okay, okay. That's fair. See, like, if someone puts whipped cream on your stuff, then it's like, okay, not a big fan, but also, you know, I don't really care. I'll just eat this, right? For me, when someone puts whipped cream on my stuff, I'm like, aw, now it's ruined. No. No, I typically just, what's it called? I just take the whipped cream and I take it off of whatever. Like if it's on ice cream or like a milkshake. I try to ask for no whipped cream. Sometimes people just give me whipped cream anyway, and sometimes I forget to ask. But in both cases, I just wipe off the whipped cream and put it on a napkin or something, or a plate or something. And then it's done. It's taken care of. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I don't think it was 600. I think it was 200. Something lower than 6. I don't think it was 600. Here, I can even look real quick. Was your most played game? It was my most played game until I became a VTuber. If you count like all the VTubing programs. Let me see how many hours it was. Marshmallow? Okay. Don't hate me. It was 206 hours. And it was Counter-Strike 2. It wasn't even... I thought it was CSGO. Huh? I guess it wasn't CSGO. Is that not CSGO? Counter-Strike 2? I'm like 33% sure it was CSGO. Huh? But, automatically... Oh, okay. Yeah, I was so confused. I'm like, I don't even think I own that game. Okay. Weird, but alright. Marshmallows. Okay. I have a nice relationship with marshmallows. I don't mind them overall. I can eat literally one marshmallow. I can eat a marshmallow and I'll be fine. It's whatever. After that, I'm like, I really don't want any more marshmallows. Now, toasted marshmallows, on the other hand. I slap with that. That's not the right word. I don't know what I just said. I like toasted marshmallows. In fact, I like my marshmallows so toasted that they become completely crispy black, and then I eat the little crisp off of it, and then I toast it again so it becomes darker again, and then I eat that. And it's so good. It literally tastes like fire and smoke. And I like that. But, and another thing, I like those little marshmallows that are really crunchy that sometimes go in hot cocoa. I like those. But normal, like, size marshmallows, I can eat, like, one. And then I'm like, I don't want any more marshmallows. I think I'm good. So I don't hate them for sure. I don't hate them. But I'm not, I'm not a connoisseur for marshmallows or anything. Fianya. Smash that. I don't think it was smash either. You can't do first person yourself? Just watch people play? That's fair. I used to do a lot of first person. I don't do it anymore, but I used to do a lot of first person games like Halo, and Gears is third person though. Halo. I never really played Call of Duty much except for zombies. Wait, didn't I already do the eyes? I did. Oh, I put it on the wrong layer, that's why. You know, the other day I had, wait, what? I had done something, like the shading for a thing, and then I forgot that I did the shading for this thing, and then I did the shading again, and I was like, wait, something's wrong. And then I looked at my layers, and I was like, wait a minute, oh man. My time. Let me start labeling some layers. Buh. Slapping? No, don't slap my toasted marshmallows! Oh yes, charred marshmallows are the best. I don't think that's good for you. It tastes so good though. Yeah, the tiny ones are so good! They're so good. Oh goodness. 35 That's a lot of marshmallows. Oida, hello. Hello. Wait, I'm gonna lose tracking for a second. No, wait, I lied. I don't want to lose tracking. Wait, I'm gonna lose tracking for a second. I lied. Again. Aw, man. I gotta... Okay, I'm back with tracking. I gotta figure something out with my internet. Yeah. We're talking about marshmallows. Do you like marshmallows? Or toasted marshmallows? Or those little tiny crunchy marshmallows? Oh. Oh, that's right! I want to buy something from Oida. Mine! I want it! It's mine! Sometimes I eat marshmallows, but not unless it's like charred. Yeah, congrats on the low punny, Isaac. I hope you enjoy. You slow roast marshmallows in the oven? I've never tried. Oh, any stuff that with chocolate. I do love s'mores, but I've never tried roasting marshmallows in the oven. I also don't really like golden brown though. I like it, like I said, I like it black. Super duper cooked. Just absolutely burnt. Soon! Soon, Oida. Ugh. Do you think you're gonna make a Lucy one as well? Asking for a friend? The friend is me. You couldn't see my hands. I just realized I was doing the thing where you put your fingers together, like, menacingly. And, I realized I did not plug in my hands today. Ain't no thing. Oh, I'm gonna rotate myself, though. There we go. The low penny. I also missed the low penny. I was having the discussion about marshmallows. Completely missed it. What? Yeah. I have the hiccups so bad right now. Yes, but it'll take a while. No rush, of course. But I had to ask because I'm like, I gotta know. There's no rush because I still have to save up my own money. I have to open commissions. You ever do that? Does anyone ever like, for anyone that's like full-time doing whatever they do, have to open commissions just to buy something? Because you're like, oh, I really want to buy this, but money. Let me just open really quick so I can afford things. So there's no rush, of course, but yeah, I can't wait. I can, but I can't. You know what I mean. Kitty Larius, welcome in. I saw earlier today, or was it last night? After I woke up, I saw. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you. You can't really eat marshmallows because they hate your belly, no. But during Easter, you'll do a thing called peep jousting. What? What is peep jousting? Yes, I feel it. I recently did it, actually. I opened up my Skeb commissions so that I could buy, oh my gosh, what did I buy? It was something so unnecessary. But I was like, but I want it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something, and so I opened my commissions. Is that kind of sad? Is that sad that I don't even remember what it is I bought? I just wanted it, and now I can't even remember. That's pretty sad, actually. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I let you down. Oh, what? Yeah. How do you like your steaks? I don't necessarily know how I like my steaks, but I probably would like my steaks the same way I like my burgers, which is, medium rare. I like medium rare. So probably medium rare steaks, medium rare burgers. Nearest steak, best steak. Nearest steak? Speaking of Skeb, what does that mean, Skeb? Okay, wait. Skeb is... What is this, the art we're doing? It's for a commission. We're doing some Polaroid pictures today. Skeb is basically a website where you can commission Japanese artists. They do have to be Japanese artists. Well, they have to be from Japan or located in Japan because you have to have a Japanese bank account to be an artist on Skeb. But essentially, you commission them, and the whole point of Skeb is, how do I put it? Contactless art. So you send all the information to an artist. And, oh goodness, that scared me. There we go. I wanted to do this, and then it like started going really fast. This is for it's for a video. It's for an animation. Poop, what was I saying? But you essentially send all the information at one time, everything that you want, and then that's it. You send that to the artist, and then they have like a time limit, whatever, to make the animation. To make the animation, or sorry, not the animation, the art, you know what I mean. The commission. And by the time they finish it, they send it to you, and that's it. There's no contact, there's no saying, okay, well, you messed up this, or saying, I don't even know. Just, you don't speak to the artist until they're done, and they send it to you, and that's it. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I like Skeb because I like just sending in things to artists and then not worrying about it. Like, not being like, okay, now I'm just gonna go do my own thing and not have to like, yeah, that looks good. Like, confirmation. There's nothing wrong with confirmation, for the record. I do like to do it when it's something that really matters. I hate to say it like that. That sounds really bad. But like, if I want a model, or if I want a reference sheet, like a VTuber model or VTuber reference sheet, I'm probably going to want to have some say in the art, because if anyone does mess up the idea, which has actually happened to me, I can tell you the horror story later. I would like to say, hey, can you change the hair? Like, can you change the color of this? Yada yada. You can't do that with Skeb though. So if it's just an art piece, I don't mind if things are a little wrong. Like, if some colors are off, I don't mind. But if it's for like something that big, like a model that I'm going to be using every single day, that is kind of important. So I'd like it to be a specific way. But most of the time, like, that's why I like Skeb. I like just throwing it to the wind and seeing, honestly, it's partly seeing what artists come up with as well. And that's essentially, I did a Skeb for Gundorf, for example. If you guys know Gundorf's OC, I could show you the Skeb while I go off a little bit about chalking. So the original idea behind the Skeb is that you get one image. But because it's a Skeb, I can do whatever I want. So they gave me the character, and they gave me a little brief story about the character, and then I drew their character. And I not only drew the character, but I also gave them a little PNG with it too. So that they could have a PNG version and the character like with all the background and stuff. But this is an example of a Skeb. Gundorf had given me the character, and I drew the character, and that's really it. I didn't contact Gundorf for anything. I didn't say, hey, is this pose good? Am I missing anything? I'm trying to think of things that I normally ask clients. Am I ready to move on to the next step? You know, stuff like that. That's essentially how the Skeb works. And for the record, because I'm a sellout, I do have one more on my VGen. I have one more Skeb commission available if anyone would like to get a Skeb. Yeah. But wait, let me go back up the chat. But that's essentially what Skeb means. Now, the actual website itself, you can do Skeb-like. This is what I do. I do Skeb-like commissions on VGen. This dude, Prophecy. Oh, you can see my thing. Wait, look. This is Skeb. And I'll give you the website for it too. So this is Skeb. I think I have not safe for work turned off. They do have a lot of not safe for work. Fair warning to anyone that goes on the website. There's a lot of not safe for work. I have it turned off currently, so I don't have to see that. But let me turn this back off. There we go. But that's essentially the website, and you just go to an artist. Actually, you know what? Shoot, since we have ads right now. Since we have ads. Sorry about the ads, by the way. I know no one with ads can hear me, but since we're in ads, I'll show you guys a little bit about Skeb. So let's pretend that I'm gonna go commission someone. I mean, if we want, we can, but I probably don't have the money for that right now. So let me just go to the first person. Right here on the main page, it shows you a bunch of the recent finished work. So these are all different artists that just recently finished something. In fact, if you want to look at them and you want to see who's actually requesting, you can filter it by who's requesting and not just like people that are submitting but are closed. So let's go back to this one. And essentially you can look like, this is a really nice art style. It's scenic. I really want a piece that shows the scene, not just like character art that shows the characters themselves. Kind of like this would be considered character art where it's just the character. I want something scenic, right? So this would be a really good artist. Plus, if you want to get two characters instead of just, sorry, I had my hand in front of my face. If you want two characters instead of just the one, you definitely know this character can do, or this artist can do two characters, because here's an example of two characters. So you find an artist based off of a previous example that they've done that you like, whether it's their style, whether it's like how they do their art, the stuff they include in their art. Then you can go to their profile. This person's actually only done one, surprisingly. You can see the recommended amount, which is typically the price that you're going to wind up paying for the artist to do your piece. It really does depend, though. Like, you can't ask for a whole lot of, like, if I ask for 5 characters, I'm probably not going to pay that much. They might not even accept it. If I ask for, let's say I want to have a piece like this, but I only pay, like, 10,000 instead of 15,000, they might not accept that either. That's why they set their recommended. And you essentially take the information here, so you take previous works they've done, which again, this person's only done one, and you take the recommended amount, and you can send a new request. And essentially, from here, here's where you set the amount. You can go more, you can go less. Highly recommend using the recommended, unless you're going to be asking for more characters, then you could probably go over. They could also, if you send in this amount and you ask for 3 characters, and they're like, yeah, I know I spelled that wrong. And they're like, they can send you a request saying, hey, I can do this, but I'm going to need more money. And so then you just pay more money. So if you think that, if you want to try, like sending, for example, this person, sending them 3 characters instead of the 2 that you saw they can do, you can send this to them, and they might send it back asking for more money. But that's like, essentially, this is where you would say, hey, can you draw Spelly? And then you would have an image of Spelly as a link. It has to be a link, and it has to be a link publicly accessible, because if you do something like, if you do a Discord link, for example, those expire in 24 hours. You don't want to do that because they're not gonna draw the entire thing in 24 hours, which has happened actually. I've had one commission that happened in 24 hours, but that's a very rare case. So you have a publicly accessible link. You also have I don't think they don't have it anymore. There used to be a thing where you could add a reference link, but maybe they got rid of it, because you can put your reference links in the text itself. So you basically say, hey, could you draw Spelly? Some people will say, give minimum info, which means just draw this character. Some artists, and it'll be right above this text. Some artists will say, can you give maximum info? So they want everything. They want the pose, they want the expression, they want the background, they want, you know, the characters, obviously, everything. And some people just want the character and that's it. They'll take care of everything else. So this person has nothing, so you could just, honestly, if you want to give them a lot of info or not a lot of info, it's up to you, because they don't have the recommendation. But that's essentially how Skeb works. And then after you type everything that you want, the money amount in yen, then you would send the request underneath here. I don't want to go underneath here. I don't think it has... No, it doesn't. I was wondering if it had my card information. I was like, oh no, it doesn't. Once you have everything, there's more stuff that you could click on. I don't normally click on any of this stuff because I don't really need to. But once you have everything settled, you hit confirm, and then it'll doubly confirm to make sure all the text is good. You can review it all, and then you hit confirm again, and then you send a request through Skeb. And that's essentially how it works. So, and there are so many different artists on Skeb, so many different, then they don't just do art. They don't just do art. They do art, they do, oh gosh, comics. There's voice acting. If you're looking specifically for like Japanese voices, you can pay for a voice. You could do text if you want like a novel kind of style. Animations, they have animations, like a specific section for animation. I'll show you guys that because that's what we do here. They have music. I've actually commissioned someone for music. It's pretty darn good. They have advice if you're like a beginning artist, or you want to ask someone how they do something specific for a specific artist. You can ask them for advice here. And then they just have creators and stuff. So I'll show you guys the animation just because we do animation here. So here's another thing that you can get. There's a lot of them. They have a lot of stingers. I think one of these was a stinger. I think this one's a stinger. They have like just starting soons, ending soons. They have little chibi animations. They have the little and you see how it says stopped and seeking? Stopped means they're not accepting requests. So if I click on this person, I try to request them. Oh wow, okay, never mind. I look silly now. Maybe they just opened in the meantime. Let me refresh it. No, it still says they're stopped. That's weird. Yeah, so like this. I can't request. You can follow them. You can follow people on Skeb to know when they open their commissions again. Just like VGen, honestly. I know this person. But if you, again, there's a filter. You can't really see it because Isaac's in the way. Sorry, Isaac. But if you filter by accepting only, it'll show you everyone who's currently open. That you can then look for if you like need it now, or if you want a very particular style, you might have to wait if they don't have it open. And that's the big hoopla about Skeb. Yeah. Sorry, I like looking at everything. But that's essentially how Skeb works. Aren't they really nice? I really want to get a comic someday. I want to get a comic, totally not in the One Piece style, so that I can have a comic with me and Zoro, but, you know, it is what it is. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, so if I missed anything in chat, feel free to repost it. I actually have to go to the bathroom real fast, though. So let me go pee. Go piss, girl, you know. And then, as soon as I get back, I will, oh gosh, there's a timer. Ignore the timer. Yeah. Okay. No! No! Okay, I'll be right back. I forgot I muted my mic. I was like, okay, I'm back, and then it was like, ugh. Okay. No, Spelly X or no. I think Zoro's cool. He's my favorite character, but nothing like that. Yeah, imagine 40-minute pee break. I mean, no, we're still about an hour before I'm supposed to go for a walk, but the walk is not 40 minutes, for sure. We unlock some Spelly lore with no. Propose the peep jousting. Take 2 peeps and stick toothpick on both us on opposite sides. Have them face each other in the microwave. Wait, you microwave them? Don't they explode? Who sticks the other first? Sadly, I can't eat peeps, so I like to watch them expand. Oh, do they only expand? They don't explode? Oh man, that's interesting. My eyeball. Okay. Hi, Marine Boy. Welcome in, by the way. Sorry, I was on a big tangent earlier. Or tangent? Rant. Rant? Is rant even the right word? If I'm just explaining how Skeb works, is ranting the right word? Ranting makes it sound like I'm saying something like, oh man, this happened today. But I guess ranting technically is the right word, though. Explanation. Yeah, explaining. Explaining. Skeb. They have extensions. Sorry, I'm a little behind on chat. They do have extensions for Scabs, but Scab actually has a built-in. You can, like, on Scab, there's a setting, you just hit it and it switches everything to English. Like, built into Scab. Wait, weren't we working on this one? How did I get to this one? Yeah. Oh, they just expand. Oh. We all have our waifu husbando. Oh, yeah. I won't argue. It's true. Oh. About a time capsule from 100 years ago? I've never seen it, Prophecy. Is that like... I know the character. Confused about a time capsule from 100 years ago? Is she like in the future, or like just looking at a time capsule? Oh, I did not know. I didn't even know she was old. They deflate? Wait, really? Where did all the inflation go? Oh. I did not know that's what the anime was. I have no idea what the anime is about. Whatever. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, Kitty Lyris. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I don't get the time capsules. Time capsule? So what kind of, like, time capsule? I don't know much about time capsules, I'm sorry. Just like a box? Like a shoebox thing? Or like an futuristic... Like, the thing that Fry was stuck in. If Kitty's easier, then go ahead. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. I might still call you Kitty Lyrius, because it's fun to say, but I also understand. If I, like, speak really fast, sometimes I might just be like Kitty. Ah. You think of a cylinder, maybe a photo or some knickknacks inside? Oh. So are we talking 100 years ago from, I guess it's up to whatever, but 100 years ago from, like, a certain year? Like, basically it would be, like, she's in our year? Wait, 100 years ago from, that would be 1924. Yee. This is a funny idea. Alright, alright. That's fine. I'm Delirious Kitty from Wonderland. Well, with... Wonderland, the one that became Juicebox? Juicebox? No. Oh! Are you talking about... You're not talking about Alice in Wonderland, are you? Titanic, oh no. Wait, that was in the 1920s? Yes, oh, okay. So, let me tell you, Kitty. There was a server a long time ago that I was a moderator of called Wonderland, and that server eventually wound up becoming Juicebox. Like, the name of it changed and stuff, and the owner changed and everything. I literally thought you were talking about the Wonderland, like the Discord server from many years ago. I was like, oh, you see, I was like, wait, really? Because I've had that happen every now and then where someone will come back into my stream and they'll be like, hey, do you remember me from 50 years ago? And I'm like, I can try. I can try to remember. Yeah. It's from like a month ago. I remember that at least. I still haven't read the D&D synopsises though. Ugh. I have 4 projects. I have a deadline next week, so I'm like stressing about trying to make my deadline for my my current commission. But yeah, I was like, wait. Yeah. T story will wait. I don't want to stress. But yeah, it's almost done. It sucks. I mean, okay. You know what really sucks? I have no idea if I was allowed to stream that one or not. Because me being me, I did not ask. I'm sorry to let you guys down. I did not ask if it was okay to stream or not. So I just assumed, I probably can't stream this. And that was that. I know. How dare. No! But I think you guys are gonna like it once it does, air. Come out? Air? I don't... Release? Release. One-year dungeon? What? No! Are we talking dungeon like basement dungeon or dungeon like dungeon crawling dungeon? Because actually, that'd be a lot of money and experience. Spending a year in there? Oh, a jinx. Prison dungeon? Ugh, yuck. I don't want that. I want to play an MMO. I literally just said that I was busy, and I have absolutely zero time to dedicate to playing an MMO. And that's why I want to play one. Actually, you know what I really want to do? Other than doing Has Been Hotel fan art? I really want to do, Art Fight. I signed up for Art Fight this year. I told myself, alright, I'm going to do, like, a handful. I didn't want to do a lot of Art Fight, but I wanted to do some. And now I'm sitting here like, man... I wanna, my art fight. Art fight, yeah. Oh yes, art fight is so fun. Guild Wars 2? That sounds like Halo Wars. Final Fantasy 14. It's just that I don't have the time to commit to it. There'll be blood. What's your weapon of choice? Animations. I've been working on animations for it. Not the smartest thing to do when you have no time, but I wanted to do it. So I did. But again, I have no time. Unfortunately, Art Fight doesn't pay my bills. Now, it could. Fighting art, exactly. Very, very sharp. Wait, a sharp, like legit a sharp paintbrush? Or just in general, like a paintbrush? Like, wait, traditional art? Heck yeah. Yeah, I do digital animations. I love to commission art, but broke currently. I feel this. I definitely feel this. There's no worries, though. We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. The next best thing that people could do, which I'm trying to do myself, is helping promote it so that someone could see it. But I don't even really have commissions open other than the one skeb. The one skeb that's on VGen. I think that's the only thing that I have open right now. I don't have, like, my animations are booked because I have 4 of them in my queue right now that I'm trying to get through. Like, big video, animated videos and everything. And I don't think I have any other commissions open other than that. Oh, I mean, technically our fight is a fight of some sort. It's more like a game, but yeah, I feel it. Digital art. Have a good lurk. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see, Kitty. Yeah, I am... you and my dad. But... Ow! If you keep throwing freaking pianos at me... But... I am trying to carve my way. You're 7 pounds... Wait! We're 7 pounds away from our goal? Hey! Aw. 7 pounds from half of the team goal. Oh my gosh, I was like, someone is pulling weight right now, because it is... Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's no worries, it's no worries. That's really cool, though. If you guys did not know this week, as I had mentioned before, we are doing charity streams. So, any donations given through this link that's at the pinned message and/or I'm about to put in chat, it goes towards the Cystic Fibrosis Trust, which is a UK. It's a UK charity, so it's in pounds. Sorry. And we're 7. I'm on a team with Man Bear Zach, who is currently in the chat. And we are 7 pounds. 7 pounds away from our goal. Thank you guys so much so far. Heck yeah. We're doing the things. We are doing the things. Oh, Vasani throwing barrel. Vasani. I love Vasani. She's so nice. Let's see. Vasani. That's her. Yeah. It's a little choppy right now because it's in Clip Studio and Clip Studio. For some reason, whenever I finish an animation and I export it really nicely and I put it into my video editor and I do all that stuff, all of a sudden it breaks in Clip Studio. Like it doesn't want to work anymore. And I'm like, what? I think it's catching up a little bit, but I don't know why it does that. Like if I open any of my older animations, like when we worked on Katie's or Hannah's, it just breaks. And I'm like, what happened? Uh-oh. I think I accidentally merged these on the same layer. Oh well. The white background that was behind her, and then just like I think it was just black though, right? No. Easy fix, easy fix. There we go. Oh. There we go. Easy enough. Hi, Marine Boy. Sorry, I was explaining stuff earlier, and then I said hi later, and I was like, oh, whoopsie. How's it going? How's it be? Our goal today was to finish 2 Polaroids, and look how far we got. We got, this one's done. Oh wait, hold on. I added the color to this. Oh god, that scared me! Oh, hold on, wait. I don't even. I heard a sound. I'm pretty sure that was the Tiltify donation sound. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation for the charity. Thank you. I'm sorry, that scared me. Oh, let me breathe. Hold on. I have to sign in to Tiltify because Tiltify keeps signing me out for some reason. And to sign in to Tiltify, I have to go to my email. Oh, I feel like crying. Oh gosh. I'm good. I'm good. We good. Whew. Yeah. Unfortunately, broke down currently. Wait. You mean like your car or something broke down? Bro. I love horror games. They're great. But donations? Also great, but scary. Work truck. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear. Are you waiting then for like tow truck and stuff? Kitty Lyrius! Kitty Lyrius, thank you so much for the donation. Heck yeah. The VTuber mystery bag. Let's go. Alright, if you want Kitty, either through Discord or whatever's convenient for you, message me. Sorry, my eyeball's a little itchy too. Message me like either a link to your stream or a link to anyone's stream that you want me to make a VTuber mystery bag for, and I'll make like a little mystery bag that's kind of themed around them, so that way it's not like completely random items that they just, you know, can't use ever. Like if it's space themed, then I'll make space themed items, for example. But yeah, let me know in DMs, especially because I might forget if you put it in chat. I'm sorry. But thank you so much, Kitty Lears. I really appreciate it. Constant pay. Oh no, yeah. I can't even imagine. Tara, welcome in. And you know what that puts us at? Thank you again, Kitty Lyrius. You know what that puts you know what that puts us at for the total? We are officially, come on math, come on, 28, 27. 27 pounds away from our goal. 27 pounds away from our final goal, and we're only on day 2. Thank you guys. I hope I did my math right. I'm pretty sure I did my math right. But thank you guys. How are you? I'm doing really good. Look, we've been working. We've been cooking. I want to finish 2 of these today. I'm almost done. Oh, I'm almost done with this one, but it doesn't look like I am. There we go. I'm almost done with this one too. And then I still have a lot more to do on this one. I might line this one next. Once I finish this. This one's done. This one I gotta do more to the colors and stuff. This one's almost done. And this one there's a lot more to do, but yeah. I know, thank you. I like doing these little Polaroids. They're really fun. I just realized I made the Polaroid black though. Typically, I mean, it looks cool, but I wanted to make the background black, so if I made the Polaroid black and the background black, it might not work. So let me make it white. And I'll make the background black. There we go. Now they look more like Polaroids. There we go. I don't know what happened to this one. Because it has like this going on. Hold on. Yeah. No, Tira, how are you doing today? Hi. Ah. Oh. Wait. No, put that back. No, wrong layer. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Kitty Larius. Thank you, thank you. It's amazing to see some charities at work. Y'all are amazing. Nah, it's okay though. It's okay, sweetie. Honestly, like I said, I feel kind of weird saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Honestly, there are a lot of ways to help with charity streams, and a lot of them are non-financial actually. And what it comes down to is just sharing amongst anyone that you think would be interested in helping out with the charity, or even just sharing it to hopefully have other people share it so that it gets shared around. So if anyone does feel like sharing, there is the Twitter link for sharing the stuff. Although I guess I don't have the donation link on there though. So I can put it on there real quick. Donation link here. There. Wait, actually, I kind of want to put sunflowers on it. How to spell sunflower. I know I shouldn't feel weird for saying, like, hey guys, if you want to share this tweet, please. Especially because it's a charity thing. I guess it's just like I feel weird. It's just a me thing, I'll be honest. I'm like, ah. Alright. I have added it there. But yeah, like I said, there are a lot of different ways to support a charity stream without actually doing anything financially. And I know this because I completely understand what you mean. Oh my gosh, what is that Pokemon? Understand, like, having to basically, you know, I would like to eat, you know? As much as I absolutely love and find absolute justifiability in not eating so that I can donate to a charity, I also very much understand. Hi, Panther Girl. Alright, I think I kind of want to do something with the background, though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up... Okay, so the idea is she is looking up at someone playing a harp on stage. So I kind of want to look up harp concert. Because I'm assuming she would be, like, really dark out, and there would be a spotlight on the harp. If that makes sense? Wah! One day I will have my own wah. But I definitely do not want to rush Sleepy or anything. Yeah, because it looks like when people play harps, Wood. It looks like when people play harps on stage, like for a concert, there's like a spotlight on them. So what I'll do is I'll put her in the background. If I can find all the layers for her. Yeah, we love Sleepy in this household. We're not gonna try to rush her or anything. She's recovering. Or she's, you know, you guys already know. Alright, let's put her in the background. I put her so far in the background, I can't even see it. There we go. And what I'll do... Wah! Is have some of the light bouncing off. Hold on, let me think about this. Oh, wah! You don't know if Mikan's is by Sleepy? Sleepy. Mikan. Oh my goodness. Panther Girl. When you subscribe to Mekon, let me know if it looks how it looks. Hey, you can do it right now. Heck yeah. Let's see. Thank you so much. I missed it because I once again got a heart attack, but let's see. I think that's a Marine Boy. Wait, I'm sorry. I don't I don't want to call anyone out just in case it wasn't. I'm so sorry. Tiltify, why? Tiltify, just let me sign in. I don't want to use a code. It was I. Okay. I was like, look, I think it said Marine Boy, but on, you know what I mean? On the off chance that it wasn't Marine Boy, then it's like awkward. It's like, that wasn't me. And someone else is like, that was me. And I'm like, oh no. Marine Boy, thank you so much for the donation for the charity. For the charity. Thank you. Truth or Dare. All right. Actually, was there like... Okay, there was not. For a second there, I thought there was a Truth or Dare yesterday. I was scared. All right, Marine Boy. I pick Truth. I'm sorry. I'm lame. I don't really feel like moving right now. Oh, man. I'll pick Truth. I'll pick Truth this time. Maybe next time. Maybe next time I'll pick Dare. Because for a second there, I was like, Looks smaller than Wa. You should sub to Mekon. Do it right now. Do it right meow. Right meow. Mekon. Gotcha. Alright, I'm ready when you are. Ruh-roh, welcome in. Hold on, I'm gonna drink. I gotta remember to drink a little bit more. Let me move the harp real quick. Would you skydive for, oh my gosh, absolutely. I would absolutely skydive for $1 million. In fact, I'm not gonna go any lower than $1 million because shoot, if someone's gonna pay me $1 million for something I would have done anyway, I'm gonna shut up and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna take the $1 million and that's it. But I would absolutely skydive for $1 million. Oh my gosh, it would be so fun. That would be so fun. How's it going? It's going pretty well. Yeah. Wah. Would you use my wah if I had a wah, Panther Girl? Skydiving for $1 million? Would you not? Well, I guess if you don't like heights, that's completely understandable. If you don't like heights or, you know, it's not your thing. Yes, I needed Arby. One day. I don't know. I have always wanted to go skydiving. But again, if someone asks me to do it for $1 million, I'm just gonna pretend that I never wanted to do it, and I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, you want me to go skydiving for $1 million? I'm gonna have to think about it. Okay, I thought about it. Yeah, I guess I'll do it. You tried to say that to Amalia yesterday? Oh, wait. Hey, Panther Girl, I'm gonna tell you something. If you want to talk about other streamers in my stream, it's one thing. But I'm gonna have to ask that you don't talk about my stream in other people's streams, because it makes the streamers look really not very good. If you talk about their stream and someone else's stream. Like, it's one thing if you say it in my stream. I don't particularly like it, but I can't really control you. It's like a you do you thing. But I really do gotta ask that you don't talk about me in someone else's stream, because then they're gonna be like, wow, Spelly has people talking about her stream in our streams. I'm not gonna be friends with them anymore. And I'm not saying that that's anything like what those people are like. They're not. They're really good people. Malia, Merp, Fasani, Shemaya, they're all really good people. But I can only imagine how they feel when other people talk about other people's streams in their streams. And I would just prefer that you don't talk about my streams in anyone else's stream. I don't wanna lose friendships over something like that. I'll drink and stretch right now. Right, if the streamer mentions them, then it is what it is, because the streamer mentioned. I'm already mentioning everyone right now. But if they haven't mentioned anyone, like if they were talking about their own thing, and you kind of like bring it out of nowhere, it makes the person that you support, the streamer, look really bad. Would you do it, Marine Boy? If I'm allowed to ask, would you go skydiving for $1 million? Wait, I feel like you've I don't know, but I feel like you've already gone skydiving. Am I wrong? You wouldn't for $1 million. Yes, and haven't yet checked. Wait. Oh, okay. Sorry, my brain was like, for some reason I thought you were saying yes to skydiving. So you would, but you haven't done it yet. I see you mean. You would not? Is it like the heights thing, or is it just the idea of I wouldn't, you know? It's the falling. Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. I'm not a huge fan of heights. Like, I wouldn't purposely want to go stand on something really tall or something. But I do... I can't even say I'm a thrill seeker, but I kind of am. A little bit. A little bit. I don't know, there's something... I just really want to do skydiving at some point. You wouldn't do caving for... Oh my gosh, okay, wait. Honestly, that's a different question there. Caving? Ooh. Can you do drone? I don't know if that counts. Okay. That's hard. That's hard, sweetie. Caving? Oh, look, Maestro! Maestro's a perfect person to also ask. Would you do caving? Would you go caving for $1 million? Now, $1 million is a lot, but caving is so scary to me. So I'm just trying to decide how I want to do this. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would do caving. I don't know if I would. You would for $1 million? Yeah, Mike's just gonna be like, I'd go inside the cave and then I'd walk right back out. Caving. Or like, actually, you could go caving in like a super public area maybe. What's caving? It's basically where you go inside a cave and you explore around. Like, I'm trying to think of how, you just explore the cave. Sometimes that could also include going like in areas that are really tight spaces, and that's honestly, I can't. Now here's the difference. Caving versus, what is it called? Scuba diving? It's like, no, not scuba diving. The other one. Deep sea caving compared to deep cave, you know what I mean? One's above water, one's below water. Which one would you guys prefer to do? I would love to, honestly, I would bungee jump. I would bungee jump. For $1 million? Hell yeah. For free? Probably, but don't tell them that if they're gonna give me $1 million. Hi, Shen. We're talking about caving and things you would do for $1 million. As long as it's not an, I was sorry, Maestro. Oops. As long as it's not an underwater cave. That was the next question. Oops. Whoopsie doopsies. I could do your groceries for a day. What? My groceries? Wait, why? Why? What? $1 million's a lot. Yeah, that's also true, sweetie. Honestly. It's true. It's true. Just for the exploration aspect? Honestly, it's really cool. I like the idea of exploring, but I guess I've heard a lot of horror stories when it comes to caving, so that's why I'm like, I don't know. And I'm not claustrophobic, but I'm not a huge fan of tight spaces either. The creepy crawlies. I don't mind like the little bugs and stuff. I don't mind that. The little fairies. I have a cave that I went to a long while back. And it was called, I don't know, what was the name of it? It's like the fairy cave or something. And it had a bunch of fairies inside of it, but I don't know if I want to tell you guys what the fairies were. Actually, it wasn't that bad. The fairies aren't that bad. But they call it the fairy cave because if you don't look too closely, it looks like little fairies inside the cave. I can promise you that's not what it is, but... Aw, man. Above with my body, under with a machine. Oh yeah, the underwater, definitely you would need like, you know, equipment for... I mean, you would need equipment for above as well, but just different equipment and stuff. No caving, can't do tight space. That's fair, that's fair. Oh, I don't like that feeling either. I don't know, $1 million is a lot of money, but ooh. I don't know. If it was like a cave that was proven like 100%, you know, you're definitely gonna make it out of this cave and all that jazz. Maybe, because, you know, plenty of other people have done it before you and all this other stuff. Maybe. But even then, ugh. It's scary. What's splunking? What is splunking? Oh. You have a mermaid tail? Aw. That'd be cool. Put the number up to 1 billion for the underwater. Would you? Okay. For anyone that doesn't like underwater stuff, would you do it for $1 billion? That's a lot. If you were guaranteed safety, I mean, I guess I can't think of anyone who wouldn't do it if they were guaranteed safety, so I don't know if it's fair for me to say that. That's tough. That's tough. Fear Factor? I did Fear Factor. I did Fear Factor, not the actual show, but I did a version of Fear Factor at my high school way back in the day. And our team lost, but I won my challenge. Because I had a challenge versus this one dude. This dude was from, like, some sports team, whether it's football or whatever. And the challenge was that you had to eat every single, what was it? Every single, what are they called? Organ inside a bowl. So you had to eat, like, the heart, the liver, the kidney, the pee-pee. Yes, the pee-pee. You had to eat every organ from a bowl. And you only had a certain time limit? No, wait. I don't remember if there was a time limit or if it was just whoever ate it first, the fastest. And guess who won? Not by like a long shot, but I won. Yeah, girl won. I ate everything. Faster than they did. Yippee. But then our team wound up losing overall. There was only one other challenge I was a part of, and it was the cow tongue toss. And I don't think we won that one because someone kept dropping the tongue because they were like, ew. And I'm like, oh, man. It wasn't actually as bad as you might think. Hi, Z. Welcome in. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not a cat today. Meow, or a cabbit. A cabbit. Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, Niru, honestly. No, you wouldn't, Zero? I mean, it's very fair, very fair. Death for a billion? Yeah. A billion can change a lot more, can change more than my life, so I would do it. You would do it for everyone, sweetie? Thank you, sweetie. Taking one for the team. I appreciate you. Splunking is as other people said? I think I missed it then. What was splunking? No cabot, no cabot. Considering some of the stuff you eat, that's hey! Hey! I eat normal stuff lately. Have a good lurk, pickle. No, what do we need to do to get the cabin again? Debut! The debut, after I debut, you guys will get cabot forever. Well, at least for however, probably forever. Yay! The organs of the cow is really delicious. It was. Would do again. I'll take one. Thank you, sweetie. Everyone should thank Sweetie for taking one for the team. Thank you, Sweetie. Thank you. I'm so excited. My life will be completely changed. Aw. That is really sweet of you, though. To put yourself not only in harm's way, but, like, to do something you're not super comfortable with, but for others. Yay! You guys will get the caveat, don't worry. Oh! That scared me. Rockstar. I'm gonna change the vibe, the color. This button? Yeah. I think I might go a little more pinky. Pinky. There we go. I want to do something with the eyes so the eyes pop out, but I don't know if I just want to straight up remove the color. Like the dark. Eh. Food. You would eat, I don't know if I would, thank you for the save. I don't know if I would eat insects. Not that I have eaten, okay, let me put it like this. I have eaten insects before, but I don't know if it's worth the time to prepare insects for consumption. Because they're so small, you would have to eat so many of them. You know what I mean? It's the same with seafood. That's why some seafood is like... You have to be careful about... Or we have to be careful about how much seafood we eat as a humanity. Although fish breed really fast, but... And so do insects. I don't know. Insects crunchy. You know how many you would have to eat? You would have to eat so many. Yeah, like popcorn. Right. Just to fill up. And you wouldn't... I don't even know if you'd fill up on insects because you'd probably eat other stuff too. So it's not like insects would replace everything, but... I don't know. What? I don't know. I have had insects before, but... I don't know if it's something I'd want as a staple in my meal. If you know what I mean. Wait, no. want to try something. I just want to try to see if this would work. They're more sustainable? Are they really? More sustainable, oh, than farming. Something like that. Yeah. I don't know if I eat again. That's fair, City Burrito. I had crickets. Kind of like grasshoppers, but I had crickets and they weren't bad. Definitely prefer the flavored crickets, though. The plain crickets don't really taste like much of anything. You had, oh, a scorpion and a lollipop. How was that? How did that taste? Fried mealworms taste like shrimp? Oh. You had liver? You didn't like the texture? That's fair. I think I've had liver. Is it super chewy? You are very advent on on eating insects. Heck yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I guess we would have to breed them though for consumption, like eating them. I've never tried an eyeball. I don't think I will. I don't think I will try an eyeball. Ad prison. Yes, crickets. I feel that, City Arena. Also, I've eaten crickets. Not bad. Just prefer the flavored ones. Oh. Mostly for the pets. So all our pets are eating insects, but we aren't? What the heck? Yeah. And for pharmaceutical uses. Oh. That's no worries, City Burrito. Food. The mealworms. For the mice babies. There was something oh, right. I was like, there's something I wanted to do and I couldn't remember what it was. Alright. There we go. They ate me too. Honestly, I thought mice only ate meat. Duolingo, let's go. Very important. I gotta do my Duolingo today. I do it later though. Alright, I think we just about finished. I just gotta do the finishing touches, but we just about finished this one. So let me copy it over. Let's see. There we go. Because I gotta merge it now, and I hate merging it. But I gotta do it. Merging. No. No. Don't die. Okabito. How are you doing today? We're talking about eating mealworms. Would you eat mealworms? I'm dead. No. Ow. Who did that? Hey, me bear. Sorry, I have to merge all my layers. That's what I'm doing right now. Merging. Alright, everything has been merged. Actually, wait, I did not finish this layer. Hmm. we go. I like how it came out. So we got 2 done. Bam. Bam. Kind of want to add, meh. A little screen layer. I kind of don't want to have the darker color. I think I like it better without the darker color. I'm gonna remove the darker color on that one. All right. Let's start lining this one. Oh, so many sketch layers. Meow. French is hard. I'm so sorry. I've been doing math on Duolingo. Oh. Thank you for the stretch. I'll stretch right now. Sorry, I was messaging someone real quick. Oh, it's me. I message people. Help. Help. Okay. Almost done, I swear. And then I also actually I kind of have to pee. Kind of have to pee. So honestly, I'll be right back. One sec. Wait, before I go pee, I'm gonna try turning off my timer. Oh no, how do I turn off my timer? Okay, it should be gone. Okay, let me go to the bathroom real quick. Beans. I am back. Blue ocean. Moon ocean. Hi, Oz. We're just chilling. Oh, I got a lot done though today. I feel like I did anyway. Heck yeah. I'll show you in a second. Let me just get this line. Alright, we finished this one. It's officially, it was almost done to be fair, but this one's officially done. We added the color to this one, and we finished this one. So now we're working on the liner for this one. Oh, and there's a Pokemon. Oh, that scared me. Oh. Ow. Aw. Thank you for the save. Kitty Larius. Thank you. Kitty Larius, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the prime. I appreciate it. Oh, it's CC. Hello, CC. With the beautiful design. Hello. It is nice to see you. Hello, Raiders. My name is Pelly. That's me. I am your headmistress Witch on Twitch. And I do art and invitations like these. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome back, Raiders. How was your stream, CC? Hello. Hello, hello. I hope you had a good one. That was a lot of fun. Heck yeah. What are you doing today? Let's see. I'll take a sneaky peeky. What were you chatting about? Oh gosh. Look up below. I'm dancing to avoid it, but I don't think I did. Being an artist, oh my gosh, tell us about it. If you have to do any post-stream self-care, I completely understand, but I would love to hear about that. Being an artist on social media, trying to do full-time art, all of that jazz. Holy baloney. I have the pressure to create every day. Yep. Yep. And how you can burn out, etc. It's very true. Especially if you're doing social media art just for social media art, not for any other particular reason. The burnout is real. I was talking about burnout earlier today with someone, and I had mentioned that I feel like there are also different types of burnout, for sure, but the one that I'm kind of experiencing lately is physical burnout. Like, I feel like mentally, I want to do a lot of work. And physically, I feel like I can't keep up. If that makes sense. So I feel like that's been me lately. I'll deal with. But I honestly feel like that type of burnout is a lot better than mental burnout. Where you know, you don't want to do anything anymore. It's very true. Everyone's journey is different. Aw, man. Social media. I was talking about earlier, actually, trends. Trying to do art trends for social media. And time. Having the time to do them. I'm still, not that I can't just do it to do it, which I might still wind up doing it to do it anyway. I'm still waiting to see the Sailor Moon redraw to come back. Didn't it used to come back a lot? And then it just stopped coming back. Where did my Sailor Moon redraw go? But I could just do it myself as well. Actually, I'd love to do a Ghibli redraw, so I can do it in Toilet Bound Hanako-kun style. Become a trendsetter? Ooh, what would you want me to trend set? I don't even know what I would trend set. Trend set? Being a trendsetter sounds like a lot of work. Oh. More Steam Girl! I've been seeing you guys with Steam Girl. Nah. Oh no. What happened to my line? There it is. Has anyone heard from the artist about any of that? Steam Girl so cute. More. I don't know. If I could just like decide on a trend to set, I don't know what I would set. I'm trying to think. Something people really like are memes, but there's a lot of art ones that set or trend pretty well. If I could set a trend, it would probably be something like... No, that's not really trend setting though. You remember the Shiko Noko Noko, that thing, but then just animating it as another character? But that wouldn't really be a trend set because that was already a popular piece of media and you're just kind of like... I don't know. Or maybe I just don't understand trend setting. But I don't think that would be considered a trend setting thing. It's just making a meme and it blows up. Have a good one, CC. Thank you again so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Ow. Ow. Trend setting a certain art style would be interesting too. I was thinking about Panty and Stocking and how their art style is like so unique. If you had like an art style that was really unique and people were like an easy enough art style, but just something that people wanted to try. They're like, wow, I really like the way, I don't even know. I really like the way that you color this or that you line this. That'd be interesting too. In general thinking. No worries, Grim. Thank you for stopping by. I'm just seeing if I can finish this line art real quick. Oh. Aw, thank you, Grim. We're working. Working on it. Oh, I hit the wrong button. What? Uh... Let's see if I can color this too. Ah, poop. No. I already merged all my layers. No. Ow. 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 My little head? Have a good look, Kitty Lyris. Thank you. Ow. Aw, thank you. Thank you for the head pets. Ow. Without the use of marshmallows, you got this. Yeah, please take care of your belly. No belly, no belly. No belly bad. Belly bad bad. Yes. I am being erased. Ow. Piano no. Ow. I'm being beamed. No. This is a crime. Oh. Wait, how was there a... Wait, what? I was like, wait, how are you guys throwing so many panels at me? What the heck? Merp, thank you so much for... Merp, thank you so much for giving that VIP membership to CC. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm Merperoni. I stream art and spooky games, and I'm here to tell you about how amazing Spelly is and how you should sub to her. Do it.
Hey. She didn't tell me yet. Thank you, shout out to Merp. She didn't tell us that it was her birthday. And then she ran away. Happy birthday to Cece. She did not tell us at all. It's not fair. How come I'm not allowed to know? Where are these secrets? What are these secrets? That's wood. But I hope you do it well, Merp. Yeah. We're having a very relaxing day. Meanwhile, I started, like, as soon as I started saying that, I started yawning. I am so sorry. Having a very relaxing day today. You lurk. Hi. There's no worries. We're working hard. I feel like I've gotten a lot done today. And I keep saying that because I know as soon as stream ends, I'm gonna be like, alright, I worked hard today. I'm done. And that's not what I should do because I have deadlines. Deadlines to meet. I cannot meet those deadlines if I'm not vigilant. That's why I planned out my to-do list the way I planned it out. Hi Advent. Welcome in. Try not to work in your sleep? That would suck. Can you imagine? Hiya, Sobu. Awa, awa. We got the awa awa again because stream broke earlier. So, it's 2 awa awas in one day? Impossible. Awa awa. Yeah. Had a chicken sandwich. Oh, that sounds really good, actually. That sounds really good. Ugh. I am hungry. Hungry. I did eat lunch though, so I shouldn't be hungry, but I am. Hi Edward, how you doing today? I'm low. What? My sketch layer. There we go. Hmm. Oh, I thought the song was still going. Yeah, what's the... Do you have a mascot? I mean, we have our Teru. Teru Bozu. I'll show you for a second. Our Teru Bozu. I present to you our chat mascot. Our Teru Bozu. I know you've already seen it, but I'm gonna show it anyway. If I can find it. Where do I know this song from? Hold on. What is this song from? You need some backward Terras? Wait, backwards Terras? Yeah, the ghost baby. The ghost babies. That's our mascot. That's our chat mascot. So that's you guys. Unless you have a custom Teru, or you have an Academy OC, technically, you guys are Terus. Little Terus. They're so cute. You need rain? Oh, do you have drought right now? Oh, this is Made in Abyss. That's what it is. Please, rain. Please. Oh, I see what you mean by backwards Terus. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yes. Please have rain. Rain for the California. You just gotta start singing I bless the rains down in Africa. I don't remember how the rest of that song goes. Not off the top of my head. Just start singing that song. It should come. Hi, Mika. It should come. But yeah, this is our chat mascot. If you wanted to know, it's a little Teru. They're so cute. I do have this exact image GIF thing in the Discord. At the bottom of the Discord, there's the Academy references, and this is one of them. They're in there. You're so eepy, no. I feel it though. I am sapped. I am sapped. Burp, no! Not the cry. Thank you. Thank you for the... I appreciate you. No cry though. No. Attempt to turn it. I believe in you, Grim. I really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry to hear, Asobu. The no sleepies is not fun. Alright, gang. I think it's about time that I call it. We're almost there for our goal. For our charity stream. We're almost there. We're about 30 pounds. We're about 30 pounds. I think less. We're like 28, but basically almost 30 pounds away from our charity stream goal. So hopefully we will get there. Hopefully we'll get there tomorrow. Or soon, TM. Holding. Do you want me to stop? Do you want me to actually stop my thing? How long are we holding? Oh no. No, thank you guys for coming in. Heck yeah. Aw. No, I'm so excited. We're almost done. We're almost done with these, and then soon, TM, we will be working on the animation portion, like the actual animation portion. I'm excited for it. Oh, goodness. Okay. I'll hold. Asobu! Wait, what did you get, Asobu? Let me see. Oh, thank you guys. Awa! Asobu! I assume, because I said awa again. I shouldn't assume. I'm sorry for assuming. I know we're not supposed to assume. I'm so sorry, but I'm assuming. Awa. Okay. I assume that's, I'm more assuming. Yes, me, okay. Let me see. Asobu, thank you so much for the donation for the charity! And with that means we hit our goal. I was assuming, no. Oh no, we're assuming. Let me see what you got, just so we could see. Okay, it's just the awa. Oh goodness, I'm drowning. I will drink right now. Wait, do I still have more rogue energy? I'm gonna finish my rogue energy with that, sweetie. Let's heck it go! Man Bear, look! Man Bear, that means, wait, we're already halfway with the team goal, right? Our team goal was 1,000 pounds. My personal, individual goal was, 400. You guys got us there! Heck yeah! I didn't get anything. Do you want anything, Asobu? Huh. Actually, Asobu, if you want, I can do 2 minutes of steppies. Oh gosh, let me cough. You know that step machine that we got? You know it's what I'm talking about. I can do 2 minutes of steppies for you while we are ending. Sorry, I like drank that wrong and it went the wrong way. Thank you for the drink though, sweetie. Sure? It's entirely up to you, but let's see. Steppy machines. Yeah. Keep me trying to keep myself fit somehow. I'm assuming. Alright, alright. Well, thank you so much again, Asobu. That means we hit... Wait, what was our final goal? I think it was to design an Academy outfit. Academy uniform. It was! It was to design an official Academy uniform. Heck yeah! That means we hit all our goals. You see all the goals? I still have to plan it out. I put it in my mod chat that I have to plan it all out. So I will go about planning it sometime, I think on Friday. On Friday, I'm going to plan everything out. And a lot of that stuff might get pushed to August because I already planned out July. So expect some of the things to be over in August. Sorry that I have to push it a little further, but like the first week of August, we'll do some of this. Since I already have July planned out. Sorry about that again. But we have everything unlocked. That's really exciting. That is really exciting. Thank you so much again, everyone. Heck yeah. Yippee. I'm really tired already. Doing the steppies. Oh, I'll take a look. I'll take a look as soon as we end, Grim. Ooh, Olympic training. Honestly, I really... Okay. So, honestly, the reason I'm ending a little earlier than... It's like, we're almost at 4 hours. The reason I'm ending a little earlier is because I really want to go for a walk. I did not go for a walk yesterday, and I feel a little guilty about it. So I'm like, I really gotta go for a walk. I'm gonna be honest. I'm sorry, guys. I have to stay fit before I start losing my, my routine. Because I've been having a routine of actually working out, like going for walks, doing push-ups and stuff. And when Meister came over for the weekend, we didn't really... I mean, we did go to the storage, and that in and of itself was exhausting. But I didn't do any working out when he was here because I was exhausted from the freaking storage. So, I feel a little guilty for not keeping up. I feel a little guilty for not keeping up with workout. Oh, goodness. The steppies. I think it's already been 2 minutes. I'm just gonna keep going until I finish my sentence, though. Can't wait to see it. I'm really happy. What? Oh, I'm excited. You know, we started a long, like years ago, we started trying to design it, or at least I did. And I didn't know what I was doing. So hopefully now that it's been years later, I know I have a little more skills in designing. So I'll be able to make a really nice design. Ugh. You want to join a VTuber Academy? Oh! Can see a role? Yeah! You guys can draw your characters in the Academy uniform. But if you want a serious OC, I will say, you can get a serious OC. You know how we have shared OCs? I don't know if you guys actually know this, if everyone knows this. We have shared OCs at the Academy. What that is basically, it's an OC that you create that goes into the actual lore of the Academy. But to get your own Academy OC, it's all about getting to level 30 on Discord. So, for those of you that aren't already on the Discord, please feel free to join. Yeah. And this is what I mean by Academy OCs. Oh, you know what? Shoot, while I'm... Actually, I think I'm done with the 2 minutes of steppies. I'll show you guys... I don't think I've ever ended on an opening. Do you guys want to try ending the stream on an opening instead? It's gonna feel a little weird. But let's do the opening. Wait, sweetie, how did you know that command? How did you know? But yeah, if you hit level 30, you can get your own Academy OC within the lore of the Academy. So I'll show you the opening, and you guys can see some of the OCs there. This is gonna feel weird. I don't know if I can do this. But thank you again, everyone, for joining, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be back again tomorrow. We have a collab tomorrow, actually, with Man Bear and some others. We're doing Drawful. I'm gonna do a little bit of art before then, but then we have a big collab, so I'm really looking forward to that. This is not gonna make any sense because it's gonna go into the opening. 巡り巡る
僕の未来願いすべて託す夢の途切れ間に揺らいだ朝焼け消えたわけじゃない輝き見据えて熱を持つ体抱えて